Greetings everyone, here's Lodrik again, and this is a game Won the Pacific Admins Edition. This is my play-by-email match against Deaniks. He's a Japanese player, and for me it is the Allied side. Now it's January 8th, 1942, and the Japanese taking over one more dot base near Jolo. These are my Dutch submarines near Singapore. Getting attacked by enemy destroyers, so we will see what they're trying to achieve here. Oh, this is battleship and heavy cruisers, and they're even able to hit my Dutch submarine. Yeah, of course, we are here at shallow water. But why there are battleships and cruisers so close to Singapore? Next attack on my submarine. One more hit. And that is my troop transport task force with this British base force. I'm trying to escape from Borneo. I'm now in port of Singapore, Hex. But I have here no port guard ships. So the enemy is here with all his might, and my task force is lost. And with the task force also the base force. Everything sunk and the unit is destroyed. I mean, it was only a small base force, it's not really so important for me. But the ships are also not important. I was not in Singapore directly, but close to Singapore. But there's a heavy battleship formation, and now they're entering Hex of Singapore. There's some fire on Nagato or Mutsu. But nothing major. Here in the report there's no fire more on Nagato or Mutsu. Good, so these ships are now in Hex of Singapore. And there's a mine hit because Singapore is full of mines. It's very dangerous to enter Singapore for the Japanese. Well, yeah, cannot change this. Torpedo attack on my destroyer minesweepers. Ships are sinking, and these are not my ships. And now the enemy is bombarding Singapore. A very, I don't know, you can call it bold. I would call it high-risk operation. I would never try to bombard Singapore with an intact minefield. But Deaniks did this, and he got a very effective strike against my air fleet on the ground, that I must say. And also casualties, plus one-way hit is damage. So you can never choose this, what is the bombardment focusing, sometimes against the port, sometimes against the airfield, sometimes against ground troops. And looks, this time it was a combination of airfield and ground troops, but not the port. This will cripple my air fleet in Singapore for sure, yes. Still, it would be, it's risky. And later you can check how many mine hits there was on the enemy fleet. So now there's an enemy sweep over Singapore. With my air fleet destroyed, there's nothing I can do. And now there's an airstrike incoming against the port. So I have only flak. And some ships are going down, but they are all low level and cheap. Most important is, well, the shipboard I care most would be my Dutch submarine. That is heavily damaged now. So it was a good combo. Bombardment plus airstrike. And there was not really much I could do. If I had all my fighters on cap, they would be heavily damaged and slaughtered by the enemy fighters. I cannot stop the bombardment, but it's okay. Early on, the Japanese simply have the upper hand. My support ship is going down. Now some dive bombers trying to attack Singapore. But that is really dangerous. But he is going for a level attack, not a dive attack, so 9,000 feet. 2 more bomb hits on my ships. Looks like all focus today on Singapore. Some other Dutch subs at Mersing trying to mess with this enemy task force. These are destroyer minesweepers. They try to clean the port of my mines I threw there long ago. More. This is my block force. Getting attacked and crashed. Okay, it's okay. A bombardment. Nothing special here. And that was all for the day. So on paper it was a successful Japanese attack on Singapore to destroy my air and the sea power there. But the question will be now how many mine hits or which ship to hit a mine and is maybe destroyed now. See you soon. So let's check how successful the strike was. Air losses today for the Allies high. The Japanese lost 5 torpedo bombs. Okay, it's 7 and true 8 reported, so maybe only 4 torpedo bombers. A Sally at Devel and 1-0. For me, a lot of aircraft destroyed on the ground. Blenheim 1's outdated, Buffalo's 1 outdated, Hudson 1 outdated. So I would not care this kind of aircraft. DC-2 transport airplanes, yeah, and the Lodestars. I need them to transport my Malayan forces from central Malaya to Singapore. That is maybe a little painful. And Catalina 5As, the land-based Catalinas are also useful, and I don't have much stock left. Still, destroying 37 aircraft on the ground at night is a good bombardment. So the kill ratio is now closer 1 to 5, 1.5 to 1, something like this. Destroyed on the ground 37 means but the pilots are sleeping, so they're not part of the aircraft mostly, so only 1 wounded and 1 killed. So very light pilot losses, only airframe. And most of the airframes are outdated and more or less only for training. So ship sunk, reported to heavy cruisers. Naja. For me, it's all of this support equipment getting destroyed in Singapore, or next near to Singapore. This was this task force. The task force destroyed also this ground unit. I think this one, yeah, you can see 8th of January 41, this task force or this unit went down, but I cannot rebuild it more, it's forbidden. Some special rules. Some forces you cannot rebuild. So, Hawaii looks fine. Nothing to talk about this here. West Coast, also no submarine plague. Everything is fine. I ship what I can. Still building up more or less my supply line, and Pago Pago is most important base after Hawaii, maybe in the Pacific for me, for the Americans. Still building up everything here. So for the next one, also building up, trying to get here back at the airfields. American and Catalinas are already here and trying to detect task forces early on, all fine. Brisbane also no sign of any Japanese ships, let's say this. Not even carriers, nothing is here. My blockade of Rabaul also detect nothing. My early warning Catalinas from the Australian Air Force also is running here if they are not training and reducing their stress level. But so far everything is quiet. My carriers are here in Townsville repairing and refitting and reforming some equipment. Maybe I can soon go out and bring them close to Pomorze to maybe get a better position to intercept enemy cargo shipping or something like this. We will see. Darwin is building up fine and nicely. I have here some block forces, but I also try to get in fuel and supplies to build up here some fort level. At the same time, I sent via land landlocked forces or forces. This you cannot buy at all, and here you have to pay a lot of money. So they are coming to try to build up all the bases between Darwin and Melbourne, so that I can get a better flow of supplies, something like this. And in maybe 1 month, I have here forces enough to hold Darwin, even against 1 or 2 Japanese divisions. This is all what I can do. Dutch East Indies looks fine so far. There was nothing around Java. All focus was here today on Singapore. Here's an enemy battleship formation. Yeah, this is maybe the formation bombarded Singapore. Now retreating. And you could guess now that because normally this task force would go maximum speed to get distance, but only did 6 hexes and not typical 8 to 9, so there must be some damage on 1 or 2 ships, or this task force is not well set up, something like this. Carriers are also here and more or less blocking all airstrikes like I had before. If I try to attack here, I will be slaughtered. My submarines trying to take out some ships here at Mersing, but no way. Enemy land-based fighters also blocking Mersing, so I cannot really use my air force out of Singapore. Singapore itself is runway completely destroyed, so I cannot even take off. If it's red, the airport is closed, so I cannot even fly cap now with what is left. You can see here, the problem is I cannot know if this is now all destroyed, but I would say this is the first time. So this air wing lost 5 aircraft just now and a pilot, and they are transporting the 8th India Brigade here to Singapore. Here lost 4 aircraft but no pilot, 4 aircraft but no pilot. Oh, no pilot. But you can see that many of my forces are damaged, but some of my Navy bombers getting slaughtered over Mersing, so, but this one lost only aircraft at ground, so this was air-to-air, this is from before, this is both air-to-air and ground, so on. So I try to train and rebuild this, what else I can do. Luckily, I lost not too many of my Hurricane fighters. At least not on the ground. Yeah. Okay. So I still transport troops into Singapore. I'm now at 664 assault strength. So, and trying to reach fort level 4, what is now not more so easy because everything is destroyed. So I must first fix the damage of the base before I can build up here anything. I want also reach airfield level 7. Because I have problems to really run all my bombers at the same time. And if I don't have the quality of my aircraft or pilots, then I maybe need quantity to inflict damage. And if I want to have everything in one big strike, I need a bigger airport. Yeah, let's say this. So that is what happened, but of course there was also some sinking sound, and there was mine hit, at least one. And we can see here. And I think that must be true. I cannot remember that there's a mine hit report wrong. That would mean, but a mine hit is like a torpedo hit. Can be critical, can be normal, something like this. And Mutsu, Nagato, Fuso, Yamashiro, they was all at the bombardment task force. The others I don't know more. And I saw no heavy damage. So you can also see here, no heavy damage. There would be now 7 mine hits on capital ships. None of them are critical. So everything is less than 50% damage on one, like I think system, flooding, engine. One of this is over 50, I think then the ship is officially heavily damaged. So no heavy damage, but 7 mine hits is something you must repair first. This is the price Deaniks had to pay to be successful with this operation in Singapore. So it's up to you if you decide this was worth the price or the success to cripple my Singapore air fleet. But my Singapore air fleet is more or less also anyway blocked to strike out because there's simply too strong allied carrier and land-based fighter cap. So I can only use my fighters to make cap over Singapore, not really striking out. And Philippines, no activity. China, nothing really special to talk about. I think that was all. Good, then see you next time. Take care, bye bye.